In this video, I'm going to help you understand the difference between a writing font and a cutting font in Cricut Design Space. A writing font is going to be a very thin font. That's because this is designed to be written with your Cricut pens. Think of it like you would using a pen to write out words. It's going to be a single pen stroke. There's no depth to the letters. A cutting font is going to have depth. There's an outer edge and an inner edge. This is because these fonts are designed to be cut out of cardstock, vinyl, whatever material you want to cut them from. If you're going to want to write with your pens, I always recommend you search for a writing style font. You're going to get the best results. If you want to cut letters from vinyl, from cardstock, choose a cutting style font. Now, how do you choose a font and make sure that you're picking the right style? Well, let's start by clicking on the text button. And I'm just going to type in my name. You can see when I'm clicked off of the text, there's only one line up here on the top panel. But if I click on it, it activates this line. So then I can go right here under the font pull down, and that opens up a little pop-up window. Your fonts are going to be divided into groupings. These are your Cricut fonts. These are the ones that are in Cricut Design Space. They're always adding new ones. Any of the fonts that have this green A right here, those are going to be the ones that are included in Cricut Access. Access is the paid membership. So what this means is while you are paying for access, you can use this font. I personally do not pay for access. If you want to learn more about the access membership, go to my website and I have a full article on it. Because I don't pay for access, this says right here $4.99. So if I wanted to use this font, I would have to pay $4.99. But then I would own it and I would be able to use it whenever I want. You can filter your Cricut fonts to look for different styles. So if you want a font that only includes all capital letters, so you don't have to use the shift key to do capitals, you can do that. A kerned font is a font that's kind of a script style and the letters are close enough together that they're going to touch and automatically join together. These next three are where I'm going to spend most of my time talking about multi-layer cutting fonts, single layer cutting fonts, and writing fonts. We'll come back to those after we finish the rest. I personally feel like the description of handwritten is deceiving. You would think the handwritten font would work with your Cricut pens, but that isn't always the case. This is my favorite filter, the free fonts, because I don't pay for Cricut Access, so I like to look at which ones are free. If I click on this, you can see there are 105 free fonts in Cricut Design Space. Every single day, there are over 100 fonts I could use absolutely free. Now, remember how I showed you the price on some of them? If I did purchase a font, it would show up here. So you can see I've purchased 82. Now, this is because I'm one of those Cricut owners who's been around since the days of cartridges. These were all on cartridges that I then linked to my account, so they show up as purchased. You can also download fonts, and that means that you've downloaded them so that you can work offline in Cricut Design Space. It does not mean you've downloaded them and that they're available on your computer to use in other softwares. Your system fonts are going to be fonts that you got from other websites. I use DaFont for a lot of my fonts. I download them from there. And the big tip there is after you download them and unzip the folder, you have to install the font. You do not upload the font to Design Space. You install the font on the device you're working with. So if you want to use the same font on your computer, your tablet, and your phone, you have to download and install it on all three devices in order for that to work. Over here, this little flag is my bookmark. So if there's something that I really like and it's kind of my go-to, I can bookmark it. And then right here shows me my bookmarked fonts. Makes it easy to find them. There's also a recents. So let's say you switch to a new project and you're like, what was that font that I used in that project 2 days ago? You can scroll down and see your most recently used. And then if you really like it, make sure you go and click that bookmark. While we're previewing the names of our fonts, we can see right here, it says that this font has a single layer font and a writing style font. So I'm going to show you how to access both of those. If I just do a copy and paste of this, if I click on one, I can go up here and see the operation says basic cut and the style is regular. If I click on this one, I can change that style from regular to writing. See how that changed it to a single pen stroke? Let's make them even bigger. Now you can really see it. So this is the cutting font. And this is the writing font. If you're ever working on a project and you forget, is this a writing font? Is this a cutting font? Click on it. Up here on operation, it says basic cut. That's a cutting font. Right here, it says pen and the style is writing. Here's a problem that I see a lot. People will take cutting font like this and change it from basic cut to pen. And you see how that just created this outline? And they're like, wait a minute, I want it all filled in. Well, the reason it does that is because the Cricut blade is going to follow the same path as the Cricut pen. So with this style of font, even though I set it for pen, it's still following that same path because it's a cutting style font. There is a trick that shows you how to use either an offset and bring it to the inside to fill this in, or use a hatch fill to fill in that area. Just know you're never going to get a cutting font to fill in just automatically. For writing fonts, again, it's just going to be a single pen stroke. It is not going to fill in, except for in the case of one font I found. I did find if you use Carly Sketch, you see how this sketch font has a little zigzag line going back and forth inside the depth or the thickness of each letter? That's going to make it appear to be colored in. I actually use that font on this card. Now I want to show you the difference between a single layer cutting font and a multi-layer cutting font. If I duplicate this one, I just did that by right clicking on it. I can then go under my fonts, go to the Cricut ones, and I want to find a multi-layer font. When I first picked this font, you might think, that looks like it's just a single layer font, Sean. Hold on. Let's look over here at the layers panel. You can see there are two layers within this one font. but this layer is turned off. I can tell it's turned off because, well, one, I can't see it, but also there's an eyeball icon with a little line through it. So if I click on that, see how that turned on the other layer, that black shadow layer? So now you can see both layers of this multi-layer font. If I want to change the colors, I can click on just that layer and change the colors. I'm going to click on that one. So now you could cut this out of two different colors of vinyl or cardstock and layer them on top of each other. Another thing I could do is first ungroup these, and then if I select them and use my subtract button, see how it removed the pink layer from the teal layer? So now we just have like a thin outline of that font. So you can kind of manipulate things and do your own designs. So single layer font, there's only going to be one line. A multi-layer font, there's going to be at least two, and then you can turn them on and off or do different things like using combine and subtract to remove them from each other. For even more information about different styles of fonts and how to use them, head over to my website, seanmosh.com. I'll drop a link in the description below for you to head to see more information and examples of these different styles of fonts. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I love to hear from you.